Hey guys, it's Ben. Just giving you a little bit warning before you start listening to this podcast. I was messing around with some settings with the way I record my mic, and it turned out awful. But I didn't want to scrap this episode, so I tried to salvage the audio. Hopefully, this doesn't kill your ears or something. Enjoy the episode as much as you can. Thanks for listening. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of Podcast Period.
It's nice.
My name is Ben.
Sorry.
and this is my co-host, David.
I was going to say it's nice to have a sloth from Zootopia introduction there.
I hesitated at the beginning, and then I just decided to roll with it the entire way through.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
See, I can't tell if you're gonna if you secretly plan to do something just to throw me off.
The only time I ever planned anything was what was it? Episode 4 or 5, when I said it was the last episode that we were gonna do ever, or something like that. That I planned before, but everything else in the intros that I've ever done has been completely unscripted, unplanned. Just like this entire awful podcast. Anyway.
The whole thing's a train wreck.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Lord. Yeah, if people can't tell that by now, then they are not listening hard enough. Okay.
Anywho.
So, I think we have the same amount of topics like we do usually pretty much every week. But I'll go ahead and let you go first with whatever you got this time.
Okay.
One of what you have anyway.
Alright, well then, you follow up with the one that you need to do after this. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, not that me and Ben are anti-Apple, per se.
I am. No, I am.
I didn't want to, say anything and hold myself to it, but I mean, I'm not surprised there.
I don't care. It's true. I don't like it. They're terrible. Anyway, go on.
Anyways, so, any news that, we can jab at, the Apple fanboys out there is welcome news to our ears, because screw them anyways. Over the many years, they've done little things like this. There was Bengate. There was other things. Normal use activities. Holding the phone the wrong way gave people problems on a certain one with antenna issues. Just stupid stuff. They've done it again.
The Bengate thing happened on more than one phone, didn't it?
I think it has. I think there's been one recently that's doing it somewhat again, or just coming out. I don't know if it's iPhones, but there's definitely an Apple products coming from the factories with scratches and stuff on it. But anywho,
nope.
They've done it again. Users of the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, over the course of just normal activity, will have flexation, as Apple calls it, within the device. Well, this flexation has led to their audio chips losing electrical contact with the main logic board. So now there is a class action lawsuit in the states of California and Illinois against Apple, claiming that Apple knew of the problems and have committed anti-consumer and anti-warranty type support actions with these devices, violating multiple California and Illinois state law. California, not surprised about. Illinois, now that I think about it, home of Chicago, I'm not surprised there either. So, they've done it again. Don't really know exactly what's going on. Apple's calling it flexation. I think it's stupid. I think it's just bad design.
That just sounds like an excuse. They were like, oh god, people are telling us about all this stuff that's the little audio chips that are coming off of the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. What can we attribute this to? And then over in the corner, some one of the board members' kids is playing on their Nintendo Switch or something. You could call it flexation. What kind of a word is that?
Oh my goodness, I have no idea.
Oh my lord. Okay, well, piggybacking on that, there was a ruling earlier this week from the Supreme Court of all places. They ruled that iPhone users can sue Apple for operating a monopoly because of the App Store. You can't install apps from any other source like you can through like with an Android phone. You've got the Google Play Store, you've got the other app stores like through Amazon, and I think there's one other major one. Mm-hmm. There's the F-Droid repository, which is like free and open source apps that they have on there. And then there's just, you can just download random APKs off the internet. Not that that's very smart, but you can do it and install them that way too. So there isn't strictly a monopoly on the Android side of things. Yeah,
it's the preferred way, but
yeah,
there's other ways.
Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, the Supreme Court ruled that it was a monopoly because, like I said, you can't install apps through anywhere else. There hasn't really been anything to come out of it yet. The reason they were sued, not sued. The reason that that this case was brought up was mostly because of the pricing of the apps and the subscriptions and stuff. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Apple charges developers a $99 annual membership fee, takes 30% of a cut for each sale. Like, so say you bought an app, they would get 30% of that. Mm-hmm. And then if there was a subscription within that app, they would also take 15% of that commission. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they got their hands in the cookie jar all over the
place. And you can see this in I don't know if it's Netflix. I don't know if Netflix or Hulu or anything does this, but I know YouTube TV does. If you subscribe to YouTube TV via the app on an Apple phone or an Apple device, mm-hmm. The price is actually higher than it normally would be. I think it's like $5 higher because of that commission that Apple takes. So instead of $45, it's $50 or whatever it is now.
I think I've noticed that over the years, and I've always just attributed it to being like an Apple tax.
Now that's kind of what I thought. Yeah.
Well, I wonder what this means in the long run, though. Is there going to be...
I'm sure there's going to be people taking advantage of it.
Stuff. Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
Well,
but you have to. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say how it's going to turn out. They're definitely going to get sued. There's no doubt about that. But the actual outcomes of said cases, it remains to be seen. Who knows? Yeah.
So the ruling on the ruling from the Supreme Court just allowed this antitrust class action to continue, right? They didn't block it. It doesn't mean anything. It just allows it to continue.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Well, then I guess we're far from over from seeing what the end result of this one is.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty then. So, sorry, Apple fanboys out there. Like I said, if there's a way for us to take a jab, we're going to.
Totally, yeah. Anytime I see a news story about Apple, I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm. It brings a warm smile.
Joy. Brings joy to my heart.
Yes.
All right, what you got next?
Alrighty. So any Apple fanboy might also be what I would call an environmentalist, because they seem to kind of run in those same circles.
Yeah.
So this might bring joy to you people that we just maybe butthurt a little bit with the Apple stuff.
Maybe.
There are, unfortunately, 78 different species of oak tree that are now in danger of going extinct due to logging and deforestation. Well,
wow.
There's a new facility out of Kentucky that is now cultivating what they are calling hemp wood. It's hemp fibers that are mixed with other soy-based adhesives to make like a durable wood that is supposed to be, quote, 20% tougher and grow 100 times faster than traditional oak sources. Okay. So now you don't have to go out and cut all the oak trees down to get oak-based type products or anything like that, because you can just make it out of hemp now. So that was an interesting type thing.
That's cool.
Apparently this guy's been working on it for like 13, 14 years now.
I wonder how much that's actually going to change things. He would have to get people on on that train pretty hard for it to actually slow anything down.
Yeah, I mean, this is...
You have to get some major partners on it.
Yeah, really. This is one facility in one state. It's the nation's first factory making the stuff, so...
Yeah.
I have a feeling if it takes off, that's a big if. It's going to be a long time before it's a mass-produced, readily available product.
Yeah, more than likely, yeah.
But still, good news for those that we may have just offended.
Yeah, if you run in that circle anyway, the environmentalist circle.
You're welcome.
Okay, so switching gears completely. Some of you guys may know who this is. I know David doesn't because I've already asked him. I'm going to start with how I kind of found out about it and why I care.
Yeah.
So I was just browsing Reddit one day, and there's a subreddit called Ask Reddit. Or not Ask Reddit. It's Out of the Loop. That's what it's called. And it's basically people just asking questions about recent news happenings, usually that they're not quite understanding. So I am scrolling through Reddit and I see this this out of the loop thread asking, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember. This was like a week ago or something like that. What's going on with projared and his divorce? I was, and you'll see why, was a fan of projared. I enjoyed his videos from time to time. He was he's a video game review show. Here lately, he hasn't really been posting a whole lot on his main channel. He's mostly been subsisting off of more Let's Play type content on his second channel. But he did recently hit 1 million subscribers on his main channel. And that fact will also become important as I go on. So anyways, I'm interested to say the least because, like I said, I was a fan of this guy. So I start reading the answer to this question, and do a little bit of digging myself. And this is, I'm just going to run you through the exact chain of events that is going on with this whole thing.
So you followed him a little bit, anyways. You liked his channel. Did you know any of this before you stumbled across this? Like, did you know he went through a divorce or anything?
No, technically he hasn't been divorced. It was just more of a divorce announcement. Okay, but you'll see what's going on as I go through. Okay. So, on his Twitter page, I'm gonna look it up real quick just to make sure that I'm not messing up my timeline here. Here we go. Okay, so last Wednesday, he tweeted out this photo, and the actual tweet, like the text portion of the tweet, says a statement, and then there's like notepad thing that people do on Twitter for things that are long that they need to say. So it says, "My wife Heidi and I have filed for divorce. I know this may come as surprising and upsetting for many of you, but know that we do this so that we may both seek happiness for ourselves. During this time, you may see a lot of rumors, speculation, and gossip going around. I ask that you make your own observations and come to your own conclusions. I will add that this decision was reached after extensive individual therapy on my part and couples therapy together. With that said, this is all I plan on stating publicly regarding this matter. Heidi's privacy, mental well-being, and discretion has always been and will remain my highest priority throughout all of this. It is my hope that we both exit this marriage with style and grace. I plan on continuing to do everything I can on my part to make this happen. Thank you for your understanding, patience, kindness, and respect for our privacy." So, that statement is fairly innocuous in and of itself. But the real twist here is when you go to let me see if I can remember her.
Because so far this sounds just like a normal, hey, this is a private thing, I ask that you not make a big deal out of this, blah 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 blah.
Hold on. There we go. Okay, I found her Twitter. So it becomes extremely more interesting once you go to her Twitter page. She's already posted a lot as far as this is concerned. Where is this beginning tweet? Okay, so this was like right after he tweets this out. "I recently learned that my husband projared has been having sex with somebody else. I'll explain who this other person is. Holly Conrad behind my back for months. I have no idea what announcement he made because he just blocked me." He blocked his wife on Twitter.
Interesting. Okay. Alright, now
so,
I'm intrigued.
Going on, she says, "I have proof, explicit conversations, and photographs of their relationship, which he extensively lied to me about on many occasions. He was promising me that he was committed to our relationship at the time and promising her he was breaking up with me. He went so far as to blame me for being suspicious and making him feel like a bad person by questioning his loyalty. He gaslit me for months, insisting that he had the bare minimum interactions with her and didn't even like her. Meanwhile, they were having sex. Jared tried very, very hard to make me feel responsible for everything, and that's gone wrong in our relationship. He technically broke up with me in February, insisting that the only thing wrong with our marriage was me, insisting that he had tried to make things work. He was unable to confess his infidelity even when presented with proof. He squirmed in denial until the last minute, getting angry and defensive instead of apologetic. I believe he has compartmentalized his feelings and memories to suppress his guilt. He's very convincing. I've spent the last year in near isolation, ostracized from Jared's friend group because he made it clear to me that I was not welcome around them even when we were still together. He had to keep me separate to keep up his lies. He told his friends a version of events that omits his infidelity and portrays me as an aggressive and unreasonable person, as though I'm randomly angry and upset all the time for no reason at all. It's because he's abusing me. His statement is nothing more than an attempt to silence me before I can reveal anything. I gave him the opportunity to make a statement about his infidelity before I did. I told him it would be less embarrassing for him if he was honest with his own friends first. He declined. I'm honestly shocked because he posted this today, because it's so blatantly selfish. This isn't a mutual statement in any way. I did tell him that I wouldn't sign an NDA regarding his behavior. I've suffered enough to sell him my dignity, too. So this was the first of a bunch of Twitter threads that she has tweeted out since the inciting incident of his tweet. But before getting into that, I want to get into the person that he's alleged with having relations with extramaritally. So Holly Conrad, she I think she was a cosplayer. I don't think she cosplays anymore. Just like Heidi is. Heidi is a cosplayer. She's fairly well regarded in the cosplay community. But Holly Conrad was also part of a large gaming channel called Game Grumps. They do Let's Plays and other sort of content on their channel. And she and an animator called Rubber Ross, or I can't remember his last name, but his first name is actually Ross. They were married for a number of years before, right around like last September, I believe, and they broke up. They got a divorce, but allegedly this was around the time that Jared started this relationship with Holly. So nobody is sure if the divorce happened because of the infidelity between the two, or if it was just infidelity on Jared's part as far as his marriage was concerned. Gotcha. Not to say that she wouldn't be at fault, because she totally knew that he was married. Gotcha. Without a shadow of a doubt.
So
but
it doesn't excuse anything, and if anything, it's worse than whether she was married or not, whether she was being God, I can't even think of the freaking word now. Anyways, continue.
That's not even the worst part.
How could it get worse?
Oh, my friend. So, Heidi and Jared were married for, I don't know, probably, I think it was 5 years at this point.
Okay.
And I think a couple years after they got married, Jared, it was started out as a joke on Tumblr. You know what Tumblr is, right?
Yes, I know it.
At least vaguely. Okay, so he had his own Tumblr account, and he started this joke asking for nudes from his fans. You know, it ostensibly started as a joke, and then he created this this not safe for work Tumblr blog where fans actually submitted him nudes. Mm-hmm. Plus, he had a Snapchat account that Heidi found out about. He said he deleted, but I don't think he actually deleted it, and nobody else does either, where he would just randomly send fans nudes of himself.
Please tell me this does not include minors.
Oh, yep, you guessed it.
How'd I? I knew it.
Yep. So he didn't.
The nudes.
He didn't necessarily ask for nudes specifically from minors, mm-hmm. but considering how young his fan base was, mm-hmm. it was like teenagers and stuff.
Gotcha.
He got some from people that he knew were 16. He broadcasted were underage. There's a couple specifically that actually talked publicly about it, and they were both 16 at the time that it happened. Mm-hmm. That's why I mentioned that age, but mm-hmm. I'm sure there was a ton more than that he Yeah, that he may or may not have known about.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's that. And he, because of all of this, he lost, let's see, what is it now? Actually, I'm going to bring up his Social Blade page. He lost, the day that this came out, he lost 100,000 subscribers.
Ouch.
Yeah, and I think he's lost right around at least like 20,000 a day since then. Let's see, Social Blade. So let's see. He is at 809,000 subscribers now, and he was above 1 million before this happened. So that first day, Thursday, he lost 102,000 subscribers. The next day, Friday, 52,000. It hasn't been as much every single day. It's obviously dwindled as less and less people actually actively subscribe to him, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been just God. Yeah, so he lost 100,000 subscribers. And the reviewer collective that he was a part of, Normal Boots, dropped him. So this man's life essentially is over. Like, he has no career to come back to.
Yeah, no, doesn't sound like it. So when did this happen exactly? Like, when did the news break? Is it, like, just happened?
Yeah, it was last week. Last Wednesday was when he tweeted it out, but it picked up steam the next day on Thursday.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Then. So allegations of infidelity. Obviously.
Not really allegations. She has proof.
She's got proof.
Yeah.
Allegations of abuse. Did she have proof for that? Did she say?
Well, I mean, she was the person being abused. So
I believe me.
I'm going to. Yeah.
I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt and calling it a very. Even though I've known nothing about any of these people, just from what I've heard, I am giving her the benefit of the doubt and saying she probably was.
Yeah.
Not knowing anything. So,
yeah,
no evidence,
exactly.
No nothing, and I already believe her story, so. And then, issues of, sexual content that should not be, distributed because it belongs to, at least minors that we know of. God, I hope it doesn't go any lower than, that certain age group that you had already mentioned. Because I don't want this to be like a child pornography type deal either.
Time will tell. Only time will tell.
I can't imagine how much deeper this rabbit hole goes after actual investigations are launched. Because, I mean, if it already involved 16-year-olds at the time, then that's enough to get a freaking investigation of that going.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't believe where this is going to go.
That's as far as the rabbit hole goes right now. There was just really all that came out beyond the infidelity was all of the allegations of the underage, nudes thing. But I mean, obviously, that's not. I'm not trying to understate how serious that is.
Yeah.
But so far there hasn't been anything besides that, which I mean. I guess it's good for him, but his career has already gone down the toilet, so it doesn't really make a difference,
Has he posted a video?
The only thing, I actually forgot to mention that, the only thing that he has posted since that original tweet was a tweet saying that he wasn't going to a convention anymore. I guess that he had already planned to go to. Probably because of this whole controversy, but he didn't.
Can't imagine
he didn't
why.
actually address anything. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh boy.
Yep. So yeah, that's the whole projared controversy thing in a nutshell. Hopefully, I didn't lose anybody with that, but yeah. Anyway. Today's episode of Podcast Period is sponsored. Today's episode of Podcast Period is sponsored by, well, you. We've recently started a Patreon to help offset some of the costs of running the podcast, and you can be a part of it for as little as $1 a month. We have an exclusive Discord server, community events, a Minecraft server, and you can access episodes early as well. If you want to help out the show by throwing some money our way, just head to patreon.com/podcastperiod. Again, that's patreon.com/podcastperiod. Now back to the show. What you got now, boy?
Let's switch gears. Kevin, I know you're listening. If you notice, I'm not the one that brought the negative topic today. In fact, I think mine have been overwhelmingly positive.
Well, I mean, I don't know if the Apple one is really positive, but
it's news.
It's not. It doesn't have like people dying or anything like that. So that's
death
something.
By trifecta of planes, trains, and
automobiles.
Well, actually, no. It was planes, automobiles, and boats in that case.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that episode. You're right. It was.
I digress.
Anyway,
any AMD people out there would probably be happy to hear that. They are like really, really expanding all this server platform type stuff. It looks like they're finally going to get some traction. The big one, or at least a big one, Oak Ridge National Laboratory just got, at the time, I think it still is classified as the world's fastest supercomputer. They just got it last year, like October of last year. They already have the replacement coming, for crying out loud. Not even 6 months after they have this thing, they already have a whole new announcement.
My goodness.
Summit is going to be stripped of its title of the fastest supercomputer, and it is going to be replaced by Frontier, which is going to be an AMD and Cray project. Also working with Oak Ridge to create it's going to be the world's fastest exoclass scale computer. Exoscale class supercomputer coming in 2021. It's going to be based on AMD EPYC, which when they announced EPYC, I didn't think they'd actually get it to move with that name alone. I'm like, who wants an EPYC? Intel Xeon's the best. What marketing director for these large-scale corporations is going to take this purchase order, or whatever engineer is going to take a purchase order to their corporate people and have EPYC on the PO listing, for crying out loud?
Yeah.
I mean, that just sounds stupid. But it's working. It's going to be based on Radeon Instinct GPUs as well. And this thing's just gonna freaking destroy everything in its path, and they don't even have
what
6 months of the other one.
What are the EPYC CPUs? They're like 64 cores or something like that.
They're crazy. It's ridiculous.
They're disgusting. Oh man.
But yep, that's in the works. So Oak Ridge gets yet another world's fastest supercomputer.
What do the Oak Ridge boys need with a supercomputer anyway?
Wrong one, but yeah, we'll go with
it.
So with all that firepower and to run roof, I can't imagine what they must be working on now. It's supposedly be based it's going to do like a lot of weather simulations and stuff like that. They've got a list of things to work with it. So.
They're going to play Crysis in 8K. That's what they're going to do.
Finally, a machine that can run Crysis. So that's that.
I know, right?
More good news for AMD.
Okay, so you've seen, actually, I know you've seen the Sonic trailer that came out because you watched it last week we recorded the last podcast. So I kind of want to launch into a discussion, if you will, of all of these live action remakes / like unnecessary live action movies, like the Sonic movie or Aladdin or Dumbo or The Lion King or any of these. What do you think, David? What do you think about all of them?
Oh. I've already not liked a lot of the live action remakes that Disney's made. I don't know how these Renaissance era remakes are going to do. I haven't seen The Jungle Book.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the way the trailers were going with it anyway, so I don't know if I missed anything or not. Maleficent was supposed to be really, really good. And I had such high hopes for it. They're making a sequel to it. In its own, it's okay. The problem I had with it, the biggest problem I had with it at the time, and still the biggest problem I have with it, is it took what I consider to be like Disney's like most badassery supervillain for no apparent reason. Like, Maleficent was evil just to be evil. Type deal. And they tried to come up with this cockamamie backstory for the whole reason why she did what she did. And I absolutely hated it. Most of the Disney villains have a backstory or a reason in it.
Yeah.
And they're understandable. I get it. Why did you have to take the one that was evil just to be evil and give her some cockamamie love story, backstory to explain it? So I'm afraid
because that's how the world works, David. You can't be mad if you're not in love.
So I'm afraid to see where these Renaissance era ones go. Lion King. I don't like how Scar looks right off the bat in the trailers. I think they could have done so much better with that. I'm glad James Earl Jones is back as Mufasa.
I think they should have tried to get back the entire original cast, but
they have a good cast.
That's just me.
I think they should. I think there's things that they could have done better. I can't imagine anybody replacing. God, I forgot his name just now. The guy who played Timon.
Oh,
Lord have mercy.
I can't remember his name.
But there's so many of those characters. I can't think of replacing. Why would you want to? Simba, I can see, because if you knew who played Simba,
Nathan Lane.
Thank you, Nathan Lane. I can't imagine anybody better than. And when I think of Timon, I think of Nathan Lane. The voice is. I don't think you can replace it. He was such a good character for that, or a good actor for that character, I think. Pumbaa, I don't know. I think anybody could probably play Pumbaa.
Yeah, probably.
Simba, I could see why they wouldn't have Inspector Gadget playing Simba again. But
why would you say that? Matthew Broderick is great.
I mean, it's not even like it's not like the characters are in it. It's still it's still animals, for crying out loud. So I guess it doesn't
true,
matter.
But still, you know.
So the voices can be anybody still. So it really doesn't matter. I could see why you'd say you'd want the original cast. I don't know if I have a problem with the casting so much. I just have a problem with the way it looks in general. Aladdin's doing the same thing to me. I don't understand. I hope Will Smith does a good job. I hope
the only thing that's giving me hope for Aladdin is Will Smith as the genie. I wasn't sold on it, especially when they revealed the first shots of him as the genie. That was sort of,
it looked kind of weird, to say the least.
Yeah,
to be the nicest about it.
Yeah, exactly. But it looks decent now, and at least the one trailer that I saw, it got me hyped up for it. It looks all right, but the thing that's really bugging me about all of these live action movies is the new Sonic movie. That's the one that's bugging me the most.
Well, I'm assuming you saw that the director vowed to fix Sonic.
Yeah, but there's only like 6 months before release. I'd rather them just release it as is and just ride the train wreck, instead of putting all of these artists through like crunch time and then probably not getting a half decent result out of it. You know?
Or delay the movie.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. They're probably not going to do that.
I know. Dumbo.
Now, if they were smart, they would do that, but they're probably not going to do that.
There's also money, too, so...
Yeah.
There's money involved with it. I think Dumbo is stupid, as all get out. I wasn't really a fan of Dumbo as it was. But the trailers I've seen for that just makes it look even worse. There's no, like, the animals don't talk in the Dumbo movie, do they? In the new one. They don't?
I don't think so.
I haven't really paid too much close attention. I see what it looks like. I'm like, nope.
When I watched Endgame the second time, we actually walked into the theater like right at the tail end of Dumbo.
Okay.
And nobody was talking, so I'm like 99% sure that the animals don't talk in that movie.
Well, then what in the...
I don't know.
That might be another Tim Burton
maybe it's
flop.
like maybe it's like a Charlotte's Web situation where they don't talk when like the humans are on screen or something, but
maybe
I don't know.
I don't know.
Or like a Babe the Pig thing. I don't know. I'm not gonna go see it either way, so it doesn't really matter to me. But
nope. I don't know. I've not found one that I like better than the original at all. Period. Out of all of these that they've made in the last few years.
Yeah, I would rather watch the original movies over Maleficent, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yeah, exactly.
All of them they've made so far.
I've not found one that I think is good by its that's better than the original at all. Period.
Yeah. And
some of them I'm having a hard time believing that it's good by itself. Maleficent I can see. I've watched it enough times. I actually appreciate it. I like it for what it is. Don't you dare compare it to Sleeping Beauty, because it ain't. Don't go there. But other than that one's okay. Christopher Robin looked interesting. I kind of wanted to see that.
It's on Netflix, I think.
Oh, that might be something I can watch then.
Either Netflix or Amazon Prime. It's on one of those streaming services that I pay for. So I don't know. It looks interesting, but I don't know if it's something that I'd want to watch necessarily. You know?
What other Disney era Renaissance one have they not done yet? They're doing Lion King.
Yeah.
They're doing Aladdin.
Little Mermaid they haven't done yet.
Oh God, give them time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's
only a matter of time.
Think about Pinocchio in live action.
Oh my God. They may as well just make a Saw sequel with that, let's be honest. I don't need to see no wooden puppet just walking around.
Renaissance era. Mulan, they haven't done anything with that, have they?
No. I don't think so. I can't remember anything that they've done.
I want them to stop. I think
they talked about it, but I don't think anything actually came of it.
If they don't stop making, if they can get one that I like by itself, and I want more of it, fine. But come up with original ones for your live action stuff. Stop destroying my classic stories. Killing me here.
Guess what?
What's that?
Mulan live action, March 27th, 2020. It's coming out next year.
Oh, okay, so they are doing one. Shows you how much I pay attention to it. Okay. I don't know what other ones off the top of my head could possibly be out there. Anybody else making live actions out there that are remakes of classic animated ones besides Disney?
There's the Alice movies. The Alice movies from Tim Burton, like Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Well, and we're forgetting the originator of them all, the 101 Dalmatians live action movie.
That one I actually liked.
I really enjoyed that one, yeah.
And the one with Glenn Close, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. That one I'm totally down with.
Yeah, so far, besides Alice and 101 Dalmatians, that's pretty much everything that they have live actionified. Apparently the Maleficent sequel is coming out this year.
Good. Something else I can watch. Let's see. Little Mermaid. They haven't done anything like that yet.
Nope.
Rescuers Down Under was already a sequel, and I highly doubt they'll do a Rescuers after that one. The first one was so good. Down Under, definitely didn't live up to the original one. Beauty and the Beast, they already did.
Yep.
Didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Aladdin and Lion King are coming out. Pocahontas.
Yep. They haven't done yet.
Wouldn't surprise me if they're not working on it.
Yeah.
This one might be a little hard to do. I almost forgot about this. The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, God.
That's not going to happen anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
Sorry. Sorry.
My goodness.
French comrades out there. I'd totally forgotten about that. Shouldn't be laughing at that, but they'll be okay. They'll rebuild it. There's actually a video game that I can't remember where it might be one of the Assassin's ones. I can't remember. Anyways, they did extensive 3D scanning and stuff of the building to make.
Oh yeah, you're talking about one of the Assassin's Creed games, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
They actually gave whatever game it was. I can't remember which Assassin's Creed game it was. I think they actually gave that away for free, like when the fire was going on.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. But I know they've got the extensive 3D scans and all that stuff. They're actually talking about using all that as a really critical tool to rebuilding. So,
wow, that's cool.
Video games making a contribution to larger society.
Yeah, that's right. Video games are useful for something. Yeah, I don't know if I would want to see that necessarily.
If it was done right.
Wait, didn't they there was a live action Hercules movie. I don't know if it was hold on. Hercules live action. It was like with The Rock or something like that.
Oh, well shoot, I didn't know about that.
Hold on. Hold up. Okay, Hercules, The Rock. I don't think it was a Disney movie, but it was a live action Hercules movie with The Rock in it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then that leaves us with Mulan, which we know, and your favorite movie, which I don't think anybody needs to make any more of. Tarzan.
I feel like they did that too. Unless that was another non-Disney movie.
I think it might be non-Disney. I don't think Disney's done another one.
The Legend of Tarzan. That was Warner Brothers, yeah. Okay. So no, it was not. It was not Disney. Yeah, no, they better not do a live-action remake of Tarzan. I will boycott the heck out of that. I ain't gonna go see that. They will. Any attempt at live action, they will ruin. They will ruin the film. Yep. There's no way that animation could translate to live action. At least in my opinion.
Okay, so we talked about not liking them. I've kind of given a reason as to so far it's not holding up story-wise. Yeah. What's your opinion on the story thing? And then I want to talk about the fact that you just said it. The translation from animation into live action.
I mean, I haven't. The only ones that I've actually seen are the Cinderella and the Beauty and the Beast ones. Gotcha. Actually, I may not have even seen the Cinderella. I know I've seen the Beauty and the Beast one, and I mean, for the most part, it stayed fairly faithful to the story of the animated version. But I mean that one is a fairly straightforward story, I think. Yeah. Like, there's nothing crazy going on with that. And I mean, yeah, there's songs and stuff, but it's not the same sort of thing as it is in Tarzan, where you'd have like monkeys flipping around all over the place and stuff, and it's just a girl with a book singing around a fountain. Like, let's be honest, you could pull that off any other Tuesday. Yeah, but gotcha. That one seemed, it was okay, but I would just much rather watch the original if I had to pick between the two, you know.
Gotcha. So with the one that I can clearly example is the Maleficent one. I didn't like the story so much. The live action didn't bother me. I think the main reason I've not seen any of these other those is just the simple fact I don't think it looks good. I miss the animation. There's something to it. None of these look good to me. I'm afraid of Lion King because of Scar alone. It does not look right to me. Aladdin's the same way.
I don't know about it. I think they're leaning too hard on the realistic angle. And I mean, I get that's kind of the entire point, but I mean, they're going realistic to the point where it's going to be really hard to see any sort of emotion going on. And I mean, that's the reason why animation is so effective. You can take an animal and give it emotion that, you know, anybody can see plainly. Mm-hmm. But you go into this hyper realistic CG. Yeah. And if you really want to stay true to this animal's anatomy, there's no way you're going to be able to do any of these things that traditional animation can do. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I buy that.
So, I don't. And then there's the whole, like, with Sonic. There's it's like the uncanny valley thing. Like, it looks. It just doesn't look right at all.
No, it doesn't.
It's
I don't care what you did with the story, how good the movie is, the plot, nothing. It does not matter. He's ugly.
He's disgusting.
He's so unrealistic.
The worst.
You made me watch. Well, you didn't make me watch it. You showed it to me or asked me to watch it, and I didn't catch his face at first. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching this. I'm like, Ben, what's wrong with this? He looks so good until you saw a close-up of his face, and I was like, "Oh God,
yeah, exactly."
I see it now.
See, and the worst part is the face is bad, but the proportions is what kills it for me. Because I mean, they're trying to go for more quote unquote realistic. I mean, how do you make an anthropomorphic hedgehog realistic? Let's be honest. But I would have rather them leaned more into the video game design, because one, that's something like literally everybody who's seen Sonic is familiar with, and two, it just looks way less weird.
It really does.
Like, if you wanna give them some like some crazy fur or whatever, sure, be my guest, whatever, but at least make it closer to the video game design than you did. It just looks weird right now.
It's totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
A Sonic person, and then that one's just, it's like, oh my god, what is this?
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad.
I hope
Lord.
The new version is so much better, but 6 months, really? That's all the time you've got?
Yeah.
How good of a job can they honestly do in 6 months? How long did it take them to do what they did?
I don't know when it was announced. I think it was announced earlier this year, but they had to have been working on it longer than that, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it right this second. I'm still probably going to see it, not in the theaters, but I'll wait for it to come out on like Amazon or something and rent it.
Yeah.
And then just watch the train crash in slow motion. But yeah, that's that. I don't think there's anything else we can say on the live action thing. We've kind of beat that horse to death.
Yep.
All right. What else do you have? What's your last thing?
Probably some good news for different types of gamers out there, whether it be... Oh, no, it won't be console. Nobody uses NVIDIA for console.
Not their desktop GPUs. I mean, the Switch has a Tegra in it, NVIDIA Tegra, but it's not like... Obviously, it's not one of their top-end GPUs or anything like that. So, yeah. Anyway, continue.
Not the popularity of PlayStation or Xbox.
No.
But anyways, there's maybe 2 or 3 sides of why this happened to begin with. But when the RTX series first launched, the 2070, 2080, and the 2080 Ti, NVIDIA was binning their Turing chips into A and non-A chips, giving them different classifications. They were keeping the A's mostly for themselves to go into their Founders Edition cards. These would be chips that they found to better overclock and all that, or better thermals maybe. I don't, because NVIDIA's Turbo Boost is so dependent on thermals. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but definitely overclocking was a big part of that. They're going to stop doing that now, so part of this might be because TSMC's process has gotten more refined and more mature, that it no longer requires them to do special binning, or the benefit of doing it is they've gotten to the point where it's not really cost effective anymore, because mostly everything's coming out a lot better than it was. They were running on a 12 nanometer FFN process. So it could be a mixture of that or a cost. They really didn't say exactly, but they're going to release new die parts. They're only doing this for the 2070 and the 2080 for now. There's no word on the TI version yet. So the old die parts they used to call TU104-400A-A1 and TU104-400 without the A-A1. I don't know why they had an A-A1 and then a no A-A1, but whatever. And then
that's serial numbers for you.
Yeah, exactly. Lord only knows. And then the TU106 was for the 2070. So you go up in number, and it's a lower end chip. So the TI version would be a 102 chip. The 80 is the 104, the 70 is the 106. The new die numbers, they're going to be TU104-410 and TU106-410. So anybody that actually wants to disassemble their stuff for whatever reason, you can find out if you got like a special binned CPU. GPU for any reason, because they were selling the Dash A ones to the board partners for more money. People like EVGA going into their high-end what's our high-end one? For the Winds.
Yeah.
And probably MSI's Gaming Z's and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that anymore, so probably good news for most people. It might bring down cost a little bit because now there's not a way to sell higher end chips to some of these board partners because they don't know what it is anymore. They're not binning them themselves, so no more cost assorted with binning them, so that brings it down hopefully a little bit. You're not having a special chip to buy, so that should bring it down a little bit. And if it was based on the fact that TSMC's process matured enough, and that's why they're not binning them anymore, that probably just means these newer cards, because it's going to take a while for it to all filter down, but the newer cards that come out, maybe they'll overclock a little bit better.
Maybe.
So, if you already got one, you probably won't be able to get this figured out. It'll probably be the old SKUs for a while, but 6 months down the road, who knows? Tear it apart, and if you've got a Dash 410, then you don't know if you have a binned one. But if you've got a 400A versus a 400, you know if you've got a special bin chip. The more you know.
I probably got one because I have an FTW. 1070 FTW. Yeah.
Think they would ever do binning for as low as a card is the 1060. Let's be honest. Nvidia screwed the pooch on that one. They shouldn't have called the 1060 what they called it. 6 gig versus 3 gig.
Yeah, they should have had like
do that nonsense.
The 1060 and the 1060 Ti or something like that.
Or something like that. Or they should have called the 1060 3 gig something else. So the way it is now, I consider this a Ti, whether it's official or not, because I got the 6 gig version. So I'm calling it a Ti.
There you go.
So I'm calling it a special one, just to make myself feel better.
All right, so my last quote-unquote topic that we're returning back to my amazing high school novel. We skipped it last week, mostly because we were, one, kind of pressed for time, because we talked about Endgame for like an hour, and two, I just didn't really feel like reading it because we were talking about Endgame for like an hour. So anyway, now we're gonna go into my own amazing Katana universe. This is chapter 6 and chapter 7, so we've still got a ways to go. Let's see. Total there are 20 that I have that I can read. So we're gonna be here for a while.
God help me.
All right. So, this is Katana, Chapter 6. When we last left off, I believe the character of Brutus was introduced. It's just this random guy that has like ninja skills or something like that. And him and Sean fought like this mutant thing that could turn into like bears and panthers and whatever. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're at the chapter after that. So anyway, Katana, chapter 6. Why do we have to go this way all the time? Brutus asked. She really just asked for Advil.
Well.
Oh my god. I can't. Was that not because of this?
It is and it isn't.
I see how it is, David. Anyway, why do we have to go this way all the time? Brutus asked. They were going the back way to Sean's new apartment. It's easy to get lost, Sean answered. And that's good. Why? Brutus asked. I know every single way possible to get to the apartment. That way, if we get tailed, we can keep switching routes to lose whoever's following us. Make sense? Sean asked. For the most part, Brutus said. Sean started thinking about Project Milestone. Apparently, Brutus was thinking about the same thing. What do you think Project Milestone means for Katana? He asked. Sean thought about Brutus's question for a moment, then answered. Well, just the fact Katana made it means there's something bigger coming. Don't know when, don't know what it's going to be. Of course, there's a chance that it was the only one of its kind, but with Katana, somehow I don't think that's the case. Okay, so what does that mean for us? Brutus asked. It means that we need to keep on our toes. We can't let them take us by surprise again, Sean said. Suddenly, a throwing knife clanged against a dumpster beside them. Sean quickly looked towards the direction it came from, but was only able to catch a glimpse of who threw it. That was all Sean needed. What was that? Brutus asked. A Shadow Master, Sean replied. Again, I ask, what? Brutus said. They are elite agents within Katana. They're only called on when Katana gets desperate. So this is the worst that it gets, Brutus asked? Unfortunately for us, no. By the way, I retract my earlier statement. Now we can't let anything take us by surprise, Sean said. Sean ran and... Sorry.
I was thinking that too. I was like, sounds like they got taken by surprise, and it doesn't.
Sean ran and jumped to grab the end of a fire escape ladder. What makes you so sure he hasn't left already? Brutus called. Still climbing, Sean answered. His job is to kill us. He'll stick around. Now follow me. It was a matter of seconds before Sean and Brutus made it up to the roof. The Shadow Master was nowhere to be seen. What now? Brutus asked. Suddenly the Shadow Master they had seen before jumped out behind the rooftop doorway. There he is, Brutus yelled. They ran after the man, jumping over various obstacles as they went. Meanwhile, the Shadow Master threw back a seemingly endless stream of throwing knives. They would have killed both Sean and Brutus if it wasn't for their split-second timing. Excuse me. They chased the man for blocks until they reached an abandoned warehouse. They followed the man until he ran through the doorway. Sean motioned for Brutus to stop outside the door. What are you doing? Brutus said. We can take him. It could be a trap, Sean said. But you don't know that, Brutus said. Sean pressed his ear against the door. Listen, he said. Brutus is as Sean said. After 30 seconds, Brutus asked, okay, what am I supposed to be hearing? Keep listening, Sean said. Sure enough, Brutus soon heard the shuffling of multiple pairs of feet. They may be elite, but patience isn't one of their virtues, Sean said. So what now? Brutus whispered. We can catch them by surprise. Sean and Brutus circled around to one side of the warehouse. They scaled the wall and stopped right before a window. 1, 2, 3, now! Sean said. They crashed through the window right into a small group of Shadow Masters. Before they even moved, he cut 2 of them down. Then he flipped over another man, cutting him down while he was still in midair. 2 more tried to gang up on him, but he knocked one out with the hilt of his sword and flung the other into a group of 3 more Shadow Masters. 2 more throwing knives zipped past him. He looked toward where they came from and pulled out 2 of his own. Before he was able to throw them, 2 more flew past. He threw one and it caught its target in its chest. The next one missed its target, but fortunately for Sean, ricocheted and caught the man in the back. Suddenly, all the Shadow Masters started running. Sean saw this as an opportunity to cut a few more down. He nailed 3 in the back with throwing knives. He caught up with another and cut him down with his katana. Yes, Brutus, we did it. We did. Sean looked around but didn't see any sign of Brutus. The warehouse was empty except for Sean and the bodies of those he had cut down. Brutus? Brutus! At the compound, Catherine was sitting at her personal computer. She was expecting a call anytime soon. Suddenly the words urgent message flashed on her screen. She clicked on it, and the face of a Shadow Master popped up on the screen. We have the package, he said. Good. Bring him in. Ooh. So that was the end of chapter 6. This is Katana chapter 7. Sean was sitting in his apartment, thinking about the event that had happened just an hour before. How could I let this happen? He thought. I should be out there trying to save him. But something was holding him back. He didn't know what it was, but he was determined to figure it out. He racked his brain, thinking of all possible explanations to his hesitation. Then it came to him. He knew this would be a trap. Katana had tricked him far too often for him not to know that. Now it was his turn. A lone black figure was riding in the desert on a black Honda motorcycle. Sand swept up in a wake behind him. He geared up the motorcycle to go even faster. His destination, the Katana compound. He knew he had to save his ally, or he would surely die. Blah, 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 blah. Wow, I cannot talk.
What is that?
Okay. It was a few minutes before he reached his destination. 10-foot high pieces topped with 10-foot high fences topped with razor sharp barbed wire surrounded an evil-looking black metal building. The sign on the gate said Tanaka Industries. But the man knew this was just a front. The real compound was all underground, except for a few leisure spots in the very back of the property. A guard in the guardhouse next to the gate waved him over. "Who are you?" the guard asked. "I am Mr. Oni. I have business with the director," the man replied. "Hold on, I have to confirm your appointment," the guard said. He turned and picked up the phone. Then the man reached over and tapped the guard on the shoulder. The guard turned, only to be greeted with a punch in the face. The guard dropped to the ground, knocked out. "Is that confirmation enough?" the man said. The man strolled into the guardhouse and inserted a flash drive into the computer. Messages popped up on the screen too fast for the man to read. Then the words "door open" popped up on the screen. He grabbed the flash drive from his port and ran into the building as fast as he could. Once he was inside, he turned to his right. He pressed a button and a port like the one in the guardhouse. Wait. He pressed a button and a port like the one in the guardhouse appeared, and a screen popped out. He once again stuck the flashlight into the port and watched the screen. A map of the compound popped up. He drug his finger across the path he wanted to take. The message then popped up that said, "Confirm route," with the choices confirm and deny. He quickly pushed confirmed, and another message popped up that said, "Doors opened." He quickly started down the path. Minutes later, he reached the last door. This one was closed and asked for a handprint. He pulled out a glove and put it on. The glove had the handprint of one of Katana's top agents. He put his gloved hand on the scanner. The light above the scanner turned green and the door opened. He set eyes on a weary-looking Brutus. He walked in and the door closed. Brutus looked up and his expression turned to bewilderment. Sean, get out of here. It's a trap." Excuse me. Suddenly the room became bright. Then someone grabbed him from behind and put him in a headlock. Then Annie stepped out. "Pull off his hood," she said. The man felt the hood being pulled off. He looked up and smiled a toothy grin. "This isn't the target. Where's Sean?" she demanded. The door slipped open. "I'm right here, Annie. Come and get me," Sean said. Annie lunged towards Sean. She thrust down on Sean's head. Sean blocked it easily. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw his decoy slip out the door. He wasn't worried, though. He still had another part to his plan. He shifted his focus back to Annie. She thrust forward with her sword. Sean parried and thrust forward with a vicious slash directed at her stomach. She jumped back, then ran forward and flipped over Sean. Sean dodged her mid-air strike and kicked her legs out from under her. She fell, but only for a moment. She flipped back to her feet. She jumped forward, trying to slash Sean's throat. He blocked it with ease. Their swords locked in place. Neither could gain any ground. Suddenly, Sean jumped out of the way and let Annie finish her blow. As she tried to regain balance, he flicked his wrist. Annie screamed in pain. Her sword hand could be seen lying on the floor. She quickly wrapped her stump in her coat. "Charge!" she yelled. All the Shadow Master that had been watching surged forward. Suddenly, a turret came down from the ceiling. They stopped in their tracks. "You must let us go. If any one of you moves, you all die." They all nodded and backed off. Sean bent down and untied Brutus. They both ran out of the room. The turret went back into the ceiling. "Do you want us to go get them?" one of them asked Annie. "No. They are long gone," Annie said. A view screen popped out of the wall. "Did you get him?" Catherine said on the screen. "No, and he cut my hand off," Annie said. "Obviously," Catherine said. "We will take care of your hand. Then you will go out and face him again." "Again? With no hand?" Annie said. We are initiating Project Tiberius. That should take care of your hand," Catherine said. Whoosh. Oh boy, that was a lot. Are you excited for Project Tiberius, David?
Are we introducing prosthetics?
I mean, if I'm remembering correctly, technically yes and no. You'll have to wait and see.
So lost.
Okay, so basically all that happened the last 2 chapters was they got ambushed, Brutus was kidnapped, and Sean went to rescue him, and they escaped. That's it.
That. I just kept thinking of... We're in the desert and the sand. What desert is there around Japan?
I don't know. Don't ask me.
This is why I'm lost. Not a
hold
thing
on.
Makes sense, and I'm overthinking it all.
Let's see. The Totiri sand dunes is a desert in Japan.
Okay.
I don't think it's that big though.
I wonder if this is what you knew when you started writing this, or if this is just...
Probably not. I don't know if I did any research whatsoever.
Sounds like it.
But apparently that's the only desert in the entirety of Japan, so that's probably where it's located.
Oh yeah,
oh, boy.
Yeah, it exists, all right.
Yeah, it exists. This is a true story, David. Mm-hmm. Did I not preface this entire thing with that? Okay, well, that is it for this episode of Podcast Period. Thank you to David for coming out as always. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening to us ramble about a bunch of stuff and me reading my stupid high school attempt at a novel again. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Podcast Period is hosted, produced, and edited by me, Ben, and co-hosted by David. You can find me on Twitter at BenPlaysVidyaS, that's Ben Plays VIDYAS, and David is on Twitter at Car6by16. You can contact the show at Podcast Period on Twitter or email us at podcastperiodpodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to us. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.